Next on the agenda, if we could have House File 3167, Representative Zalesnikar, if you could take the testimony table. We'll get onto this bill. We've got our 25 minutes total left for two more bills, members, so appreciate you watching me watching the clock a little bit. Representative Zalesnikar will move House File 3167, and this will be, and you have two amendments. I'll let you actually explain that too. I think the goal today is to move it out to the general register. Nope, laid it over, sorry, thank you.
Thank you.
Your bill.
Thank you, Chair Baker and members. Yes, House, this bill, the A1, removes annual reporting when we have no funding allocated for the bill. And the A2 makes a one-time appropriation of $500,000 for the Center of Nursing Equity and Excellence.
Yeah, okay. Members, we're going to do two separate votes here to give the bill and the author's choice and recommendation. Members, any questions on the A1 amendment that was presented? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? A1 amendment has been approved for 3167 and also to her A2 amendment, which you have already described.
Yes.
So if we could do that, members, any issues, questions for A2 amendment? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. 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 Any opposed? There you go, Representative Zalesnikar. House File 3167 is now amended as your request is, and to your bill as amended.
Thank you, Chair Baker and members. This is a $500,000 allocation for the 2027 workforce for the Center of Nursing Equity and Excellence. It's a partnership with the University of Minnesota Nursing and Minnesota State's Healthcare Center of Excellence. This Healthcare Center of Excellence brings together employers, educators, and policymakers to respond to a nursing shortage that matches the atmosphere right now with an incredibly aging Minnesota population and increased needs for staffing of various settings, from nursing homes to hospitals to clinics. And nurses right now represent more than half of the licensed healthcare workforce. And I will also highlight that it's one of DEED's top priorities is healthcare and staffing. So as we prepare for our aging population, we are going to have to increase our graduates. And so that is the tenor of the bill.
Thank you very much, Representative. I see we have a testifier here today. Ms. Vandenberg, welcome to the committee. If you'd please introduce yourself and proceed with your testimony.
Thank you. Chair Baker, Chair Pinto, members of the committee, thank you for the opportunity to testify. I'm Elaine Vandenberg. I'm the Interim Executive Director for Minnesota State's Health Force Center of Excellence. Health Force is part of Minnesota State colleges and universities, and in partnership with the University of Minnesota, we co-founded and co-lead the Center for Nursing Equity and Excellence, also known as the CNEE. The CNEE is Minnesota's Nursing Workforce Center. I'm here today on behalf of both organizations and on behalf of Dr. Jennifer Eccles, the center's executive director. We ask for your support of House File 3167 and respectfully request an amendment to increase the appropriation to $500,000 for FY27. Healthcare is Minnesota's largest employment sector, supporting about 1 in every 6 jobs. Nurses make up half of Minnesota's licensed healthcare workforce, and Minnesota is facing serious nursing workforce shortages. It's already affecting patient care, putting a strain on current workforce and limiting access to services across the state. And it's going to get worse without action. Minnesota is one of the only states without dedicated funding for its nursing workforce center. 48 states have these centers, and many, like Florida, Texas, North Carolina, Oregon, and New Jersey, make significant investments. In fact, almost half of the state's nursing workforce centers receive more than $1 million annually. Our request is a fraction of what other states invest. Without this funding, the center is at risk for closure. Without the infrastructure that the center provides, our state will lose its ability to compete for grants that require statewide coordination and established workforce systems, putting us even further behind. Even with its limited funding, the CNEE has demonstrated strong return on investment. With our support with the University of Minnesota School of Nursing and Health Force, the center has leveraged $1.4 million to launch the pre-licensure nurse apprenticeship program. This modest investment shows how we can drive, this shows how even a modest investment can drive larger workforce solutions, particularly in greater Minnesota. The $500,000 requested is practical, near-term solution to sustain this work. It'll allow the CNE to maintain statewide data systems, coordinate partnerships across education and industry, and provide the planning and infrastructure needed to support Minnesota's nursing workforce. It also positions the state to attract additional federal and philanthropic funding, multiplying the state's investment. We recognize this is a non-budget year and funding is tight. At the same time, we also know that you understand the gravity of the situation and the nursing and that the nursing shortage continues to impact care, workforce stability, and Minnesota's economy. An investment in this session ensures Minnesota will have the infrastructure needed to respond, not just to respond, but to move forward with intention and coordination. For these reasons, we respectfully urge the committee to adopt the amendment to fund the CNEE at $500,000 for fiscal year 27 and pass House File 3167. Thank you for your time and commitment to Minnesota's healthcare workforce. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you very much, Ms. Vandenberg. Appreciate that. Again, the plan today is to hear the bill and then lay it over, so we're going to try to be somewhat brief. Representative Hussain, you have a question? I'm sorry, let me ask this. Is there anybody in the audience that wants to testify in favor or opposition of the bill? Seeing none. Member questions? Representative Hussain.
I don't have any questions, but I would like to thank you for bringing this bill forward, because I have family members who are in the nursing fields, and they always come and complain how many hours they are putting in this field and not seeing their kids, not being a part of the family. They are really passionate about this job, and it's a time that we need to address the shortage, the nurses that we see throughout our state. Thanks for bringing this bill forward, and I hope we can work this as a bipartisan together and to address the crisis that we see in our state.
Thank you for that. Other member questions? Chair Pinto.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So one quick question, is the funding, this may be to Ms. Sang, would the funding be in the base, be ongoing, or is it just one time? I was just trying to sort of, I think 250,000 in FY 27 means that there'd be 250,000 every year after that, but.
Clarification, Ms. Sang.
Mr. Chair, yeah, it would have to say it is one-time funding. But yes, right now it is ongoing.
Okay.
Oh, okay. We might need to talk about that.
And then, Mr. Chair, just a comment, and yeah, I will have further conversations, obviously, as we build the budget. I'll just note, connecting to our prior conversation about grant structure, it strikes me this may be an example of something, in my view, that actually would make sense to be a identified grant, in that if we say as a legislature we want a Center for Nursing Equity and Excellence, and there's only one place that would house that, then this might be an example of a place where that could make sense as opposed to a competitive RFP. We'll see how far we get. But I did also then want to note that I've been looking at having a healthcare workforce development competitive grant program, just recognizing that so much of the healthcare workforce, we receive a number of specific proposals here on that topic, and so that might be another avenue as well. But certainly recognize the important work that the U is doing in this area. And thank you, Representative Zalesnikar, for the bill. Thank you, Chair.
Representative Schultz, final.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This is more so a comment. First, I want to thank Representative Zalesnikar for her continued work in regards to workforce for the whole healthcare space. I think you're clearly a leader on that here at the legislature. I want to make a quick note about the University of Minnesota and the challenges that we have in Minnesota in areas of higher education, and that is that we are in violation of the Civil Rights Act of 1964 as it relates to affirmative action issues, and this particular program is set up as such, and the University of Minnesota needs to come into compliance with federal law. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Seeing no member questions, Representative Zalesnikar, final words to your bill.
Thank you, Chair Baker, and to Representative Chair Pinto. It is a one-time $500,000, so that will have to be amended.
We'll get that cleared. Thank you.
And clarified, just for the record. And secondarily, what I like about this program is it helps the entire state. It's a statewide initiative that's really important with our systems that are focusing on nursing, and it offers solutions with apprenticeships and giving mentorship in a very critical role of nursing that is. It can be stressful, but to have solutions to grow our workforce so that we can match the aging needs of our society right now in Minnesota, and then the ongoing needs that all Minnesotans will need. So I urge you to support this, and thank you for considering the bill.
Again, thank you for bringing this forward. The chair lays over House File 3167 as amended. Thank you very much.